Good afternoon, welcome to Rundlii Gaming. We're going to be doing another video. This is going to be on the game of Hive Pocket. It's actually the smaller version. It's actually just fine. There is a much larger version that's quite a bit more expensive. The Pocket's actually a really good one if you're just wanting to play little quick games, whereas I think the larger one has much bigger tiles on it. Whereas these are actually still fairly decent size, which are still pretty good for like just playing casually. You could, if you can find a small table space, this is a big enough, small enough game where you can actually still play fairly easily on it. So the object of the game here is to surround your enemy's queen bee here with pieces. So we'll kind of explain a little bit more. There's a couple rules to it. In a lot of ways it kind of feels like similar to like chess, even though it's not quite the same, as far as just mobilizing pieces and moving them a certain way. And the rulebook's actually fairly simplistic as well. The one that comes through, even though this one's fairly folded out, it's not all that difficult to go over. It's like all of like 3 pages or so. And what it's mostly for is just kind of explaining the different pieces, how they move, and a couple of small rules, and we're just going to kind of go over each of those rules a little bit as far as how the game itself plays. Now, each of these pieces do things a little bit differently from other pieces, and so it kind of helps you move things around and be a little strategic with it. At the start of the game, each person is going to place one person down. So let's say I'm going to go ahead and drop a spider on this side. And then let's say they're going to drop a grasshopper on this side. This is the only time in the game that you can actually have your piece start adjacent to another piece. Normally, like for example, black cannot drop a piece here because it's touching white. Cannot touch a piece here because it's touching white. You can never have a piece come in touching your opposite color. And then at this point, white now has to lay another piece, or they can move a current one. The queen bee has to come out within the first 4 moves, basically the first 4 turns, as well as the opposite side does. But we're going to go ahead and drop another piece because we're going to need more pieces because it's usually helpful to have more presence out there. We're going to drop it here because it does not touch the black piece, and it still does touch one of ours. So at this point we're going to drop, a beetle here. Then next we're going to drop I'm just putting some stuff on the board here so we can, it's basically just back and forth until something particular happens here. Next we'll drop the spider here. And now by the 4th turn they have to drop the queen, so at this point I'll have to put down the queen. And I'm going to put it there. And they're going to drop their queen here. Now at this point you have what they're going to call the hive. The hive started as soon as you laid the first 2 pieces. You can never break the hive for any reason. For example, I cannot move this spider because if I move it, the hive itself is split. They're no longer connected. So therefore this piece cannot move until some means of keeping the hive together allows it to move. Now each of these pieces are going to have different movements as far as what they can do on the board itself. In fact, we're going to just keep dropping stuff for now so I can get a little bit of variety here. We'll drop another ant here. We'll drop another grasshopper here. We'll drop a ladybug here. I can honestly say it's probably not a particularly good setup, but again, a little variety is good. So, alright, so they haven't really moved on each other as far as this particular part of the game. As I said, it's just I threw a bunch of pieces down. We're going to go over all these different pieces do. So first off, we're going to start off with the grasshopper. The grasshopper actually jumps over any number of pieces as long as it's in a straight line and can land somewhere. So let's say if I were to move this black grasshopper here, he could jump from here to here, or he could jump from here to here. So those are the two moves he could do currently. This grasshopper cannot move because in doing so, he'd actually break the hive. This one actually can move, so he could actually hop over this row and land behind the queen here. He could land behind the worker ant here, the beetle here, this worker ant here, the queen here. So he can jump in a lot of different places on that one. So that's a grasshopper. He jumps straight over a single row in whatever direction he wants, and then he lands on the opposite side of that row. So that is that one. The next one, we'll go over the beetle here. The beetle is like the purple beetle. What the purple beetle can do is he can move one space. So let's say if he were to move here, that would be his move. He can move here, that would be his move. Basically it just goes to the next edge that's close by. On top of that though, he can also move on top of other pieces. And this can be very useful at times. Because let's say if he wanted to jump up here, he can kind of move across other pieces. Now where this could be tactically good is that if, let's say somehow the beetle got over here, if he hops on like this ladybug here, this piece counts as mine as far as laying down pieces, as long as the beetle's on top of it. It also kind of stops it, because this ladybug cannot move until I get the beetle off. So right now, like the ladybug here is stuck. But I could continue to move that piece around further. Let's say if I wanted to move next turn, I could move over here to the worker ant. I could keep doing that. But tactically, it helps you kind of position yourself a little bit and kind of control the board a bit. So that is the beetle. The ant here can move to any space. Basically, he can move as many spaces as he wants anywhere around the board as long as he doesn't break the hive or cut into where he can't get into a space. And to kind of give you a little more information on that, because I haven't really went over that yet, let's just say Black's just doing a terrible job here. But right now, I can move here, I can move here, I can move here, but I cannot actually fit into the space here, as you can see, because the black pieces are kind of in the way. I can move anywhere on the edge, so I can move pretty much anywhere on the outside. However, I can't move into here because of the hive rule. Again, I still can't break in. If this piece was not here, I could get in there because I can actually slide the piece in there. In that case, that would be a fine move. However, like as I said, if that piece was there, I could not move inside of there because the piece does not actually fit inside. So that's actually the ant. The next one is a spider. The spider moves exactly 3 spaces, so I can move 1, 2, 3, for example. Or I can move 1, 2, 3. So it always moves the 3 spaces. The next one we're going to go over is the ladybug. The ladybug moves on top of 2 spaces, but then hops down on the 3rd. So for example, if I took this piece, I could do 1 on top of the beetle, 1 on top of the grasshopper, and then I'd have to jump down afterward. So it's always 3. It kind of gives you the feel of like the knight from chess. Like 2 on top, 1 on bottom. So I could go to the worker ant, to the queen bee, down. Or I can go beetle, to the spider, to down. And I could, wherever I want to go. But that's pretty much its power. So the next one we can do is the queen bee. Queen bee moves 1 space, in either left or right. Again, cannot break the hive. all it's trying to do is, so it's basically like your king in chess. It allows you to move one space, but the only thing you're really trying to do with it, to avoid with the queen, is to make sure that you don't get surrounded by the opposite player or yourself. You can actually eliminate yourself if you surround it with your own pieces. So, but if either queen b gets completely surrounded, then the game ends for you. So that's the queen. Now the last one here is one of the expansions too, but it comes with a Hive pocket, so that's still good. The mosquito here will actually steal the abilities of the people it touches. So right now, the mosquito here is both a worker ant and or a beetle. So I could choose to move it like I would a beetle right now, or I could choose to use it as a ant. So if I used it as an ant, I could move like say here with it. Now at this point, he is now an ant or a queen bee. Now the queen bee won't get you eliminated as a mosquito, but as far as his movement goes, he's allowed to be either or. Or if I moved here, it can be used as a ladybug or a spider. So whatever it's touching, it can use the special powers of that particular ability. And so as I said, it's a very easy, quick game to play. It really depends on the players playing, but on average 20-25 minutes is a good time frame for this one to end. It's a very thinky game. As you get more used to rules, it'll kind of help you get a little bit better with movement and defending yourself and playing offensively. But that's pretty much what each of them do. Now there is another expansion. I think there's only one more, which is a pillbox bug. That's something you can order individually from this the pocket, and that adds like a little more depth to the game as well. But this is like what the pocket itself comes with originally. The base set has, as I said, much bigger tiles, but these are actually still really good just if you're wanting to play like, with some player, whether it be a family member or just a friend, or it's a very good one just for like quick casual play. So you could play at like school, or you could play at, if you're waiting in a doctor's office or wherever it might be. So that is the game of Hive, and I hope you've enjoyed the video. We're going to have another video next week, so definitely watch for it, and hope you've enjoyed this video. Definitely like and comment if you like the video, or if you want to give me any input on the video itself. Thank you for watching, and you have a good day.